Acknowledgments. Well aware that I am indebted to a very large number of people for their help and support during my work on this study of the InLonSchka, I nonetheless would particularly like to express my thanks to the following. My father, Charles Callahan, for his sharing of his knowledge and materials on Osage history, his continuing interest and support in the study, and his patience and humor as my sounding board. Professor David Tatham of Syracuse University, my dissertation advisor, for making the distance between Kansas and New York not impossible through his welcome response to my phone calls and through his many detailed letters criticizing my writing and offering good advice and encouragement at different stages of this work. John Joseph Matthews, for giving me some much-needed help and advice in the very early stages of my fieldwork, and directing me to people to interview, and for authoritative information on Osage history. Very special thanks go to those persons who served as my oral sources throughout the 1970s and 1980s for their patience and willingness to spend long hours answering my questions and reading my material. In particular, Archie Mason and Ed Red Eagle for their information on InLonSchka history and traditions. Morris Lookout for his important information on InLonSchka music, musicians, and traditions. Mahdi Chishawala, Jan Robinson, and Ida Penn for their information on Osage ribbonwork, finger weaving, traditional dress, and InLonSchka traditions. I also thank Miss Julia Mason for materials on her grandfather, James Bighart, Mabel Logan for her assistance with the Osage language, Jean Cox and Jack Looney for their expert help in photography, Syracuse University professor William Fleming and Abraham Venus for encouraging me in the initial stages of selecting a dissertation topic and for giving me good advice on methods and procedures to use in my work. Professors Frank McComber, Barry Glassner, and William Fleming for reading my manuscript and making helpful suggestions during the revisions, and Professor Carol Talbot, whose early comments on Chapter 3 made me more confident of my fieldwork. Thanks go to John Shaw, who shared with me his experiences as a former member of the Gray Horse Dance Committee, as well as information on the Shaw family. To my husband, Tom Russell, for his steady support and help through the revisions of the 1980s, and for his and my niece, Christine Moosegrave's sketches and line drawings, which replaced my poor efforts. To my sister, Mary Jane Chubb, for suggesting to me that I write on the InLonSchka. To my sister, Charlene Potter, for her drawings of the Osage finger weavings and ribbonwork designs. To my Hessert aunts in Chautauqua, Kansas, who supplied a way station for me. To friends and family who accompanied me on the long trips to Oklahoma. To the many Tulsa, Pawhuska, Burbank, and Gray Horse, Oklahoma residents who offered their hospitality and assistance. To all of my family for being patient with my hibernations. To Loda Newcomb for typing the final dissertation copy. To Phyllis Braun, who helped in putting the revised manuscript on a word processor. And to Professor Terry P. Wilson, University of California, Berkeley, who read the revised manuscript and offered suggestions pertaining to style and content.